World affairs, facts and opinion, their future in our hands. Markets, globalist technocrats versus the people. A line in the sand. The McIntyre Report.
And welcome, folks. Jamie McIntyre reporting live for Australian National Review. Independent media out of Australia. Can't find that on Channel 7, 9, 10, Fox News, or should we say Sky News? Some will call it Sky News. Australian media is completely complicit, either left faction Zionists, that would be the Channel 9, Fairfax, all the left woke nutters on the media, and then you have the right side Murdoch. Neither of them tell the truth. Both of them want a one world government run out of Jerusalem. So what's happening in the world? Well, Trump is losing MAGA support. Latest news coming in, Israel has just listed these following people. Breaking, the Israeli government has released its official list of Antisemites around the world. Dan Bilzerian's number one. Greta Thunberg, she used to be popular, of the globalist left faction, but not so much anymore, because you can't dare criticize Israel, otherwise you're in the bad books. Number three, Bassem Youssef, total hero and also a comedian. You want to listen to what he has to say. Of course, Candace Owens made the top four, doing a great job. Number five, no idea who he is. Number six, Omar Solomon, he's doing a great job. Seven, Anastasia Lupez, who I know, Dr. Anastasia. Number eight, Nick Fuentes. Number nine, even Ian Carroll's made the list, and he's hard to call him anti-Semitic. He's just critical of Israel, like most of us. Tucker Carlson rounds out the top 10. My God, I certainly didn't make it. So those accusing me of being anti-Semites, anti-Semitic, antiseptic, despite half my friends being Jewish, and I have no issues with good Jewish people. But let me see if I can find this statistic for you, because this does not look good for Israel. 82% of Israelis supported the genocide in Gaza. 79% of Israelis support the airstrikes currently going on in Lebanon. Yet there's still people who are adamant that the apparent increase in anti-Semitism across the world is due to historical prejudice. Rather than a critique of the state's actions, this is next-level collective delusion. I'd have to agree. Anyone that criticizes Israel is apparently anti-Semitic. It's not that. Maybe they just have valid concerns or valid criticisms of a nation. Or is it even a nation? Of a fake state run by fake Jewish imposters that printed fake money through the fake Federal Reserve to buy up our fake politicians and own our fake media and push fake pandemics with fake vaccines and create fake taxes which take real money out of our pockets to run this scam. And that's the problem. Maybe we're just critical of that fake state, that pretending that they're God's chosen ones and are somehow biblical, despite being created in 1948, and that they love dropping bombs on children. Can they go a week without attacking yet another country? Now they're murdering civilians in Lebanon. But of course, we know this is all part of a greater plan. You have to understand, Israel first attacked Lebanon in 1978. They claim they're attacking Lebanon now to get rid of terrorists. Hezbollah wasn't founded in 1982. Israel first attacked Palestine in 1948. Hamas wasn't founded until 1987. Let's dig a little bit deeper. Who created Hamas if it was not Israel? Who funded Hamas if it was not Israel? And has continued to fund Hamas up until 2012, and then begged Qatar to fund it ever since. And they have shuffled $1.4 billion US notes to Hamas. So who are the state-sponsored terrorists? They claim everyone else is terrorists. Islamic terrorism, including the Islamic terrorist attack in Bali that killed many Australians in 2002, was carried out by, that's right, Mossad, the inventors of terrorism, Israel, fake state that loves murdering civilians. Now, does that make me anti-Semitic? Let me ask my Jewish friends, because they're Jewish and many of them hate Netanyahu, hate dropping bombs on children, don't prove it. So my Jewish friends also anti-Semitic? That doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Considering most Jewish aren't even Semites. It's just like nonsense, but anything to deflect from the truth. Hungary had its elections and Viktor Orban's booted out. That means the woke nunners will take over. Soros was very happy at getting Orban booted. Alex Soros says, the son of George Soros, the globalist left faction Zionist nutter, the people of Hungary have taken back their country, a resounding rejection of entrenched corruption and foreign interference. Well, that's a bit of a joke. This means it's now taken over by foreign interference. $90 billion of Russian frozen funds will be released so Ukraine can continue on behalf of NATO, attack and kill Russians. Hillary Clinton was also happy about it. So, you know, the globalist left puppets have installed a puppet in Hungary. Now, whether you're critical of Orban or not, Orban was anti-war, anti-mass immigration, so not a good sign for white people in Hungary. You will soon become the minority. What else is happening in the news? Of course, Iran is trolling Trump. Gas prices are up everywhere around Washington. I wonder why. And the Rothschilds been found out to, when the church bows before the Rothschilds, as they do, because the Rothschilds took over the Vatican finances some years ago, you should be wary of such influence over the Vatican's finances. George Pell was, some would argue, was thrown under the bus. He was investigating, was appointed to audit the Vatican's finances, and he was gotten rid of. Now, whether he was guilty or not is a separate issue, but it was just interesting that he was doing an audit and found things of massive monies missing. But Trump, well, what is this? Trump now posting what he's now Jesus. What is that demonic soldier image in the background, though? Very concerning. What the hell is going on, Trump? Has he lost his mind? But let's talk a little bit more about what's going on. Obviously, Dubai real estate collapsing in value. Many Dubai people are flooding to Bali right now, where I spend a lot of my time, because the expat capital of the world is losing its shine. A mirage built on sand. We always know, don't build your house on sand. How will Dubai recover from this? Who knows? Australia winning more records. You see, the littlest, the least reserves, typically that's back 2025, those 49 days has dropped below 23, and it's only going to get worse. They're not telling you how bad it's going to get. But of course, we know, if you forgot, the Epstein files, which they wanted you to forget about, that, by the way, Jeffrey Epstein represented the Rothschilds group. He said it many times. There's a $25 million little payment there for him to keep doing more work on behalf of Edmund de Rothschilds and the collective Rothschilds group. Of course, he worked for them. Now, I disagree with Graham Lindsay, as most decent humans would. 2028 presidential nominee will not win if they do not support Israel. Well, I've got some bad news for you, Graham Lindsay. You will not probably be around by then. You will be booted, and anyone that isn't anti-Israel will be booted from power. Support for Israel collapses to 32%, plunging from 47% just 3 years ago. That's on Tucker Carlson Network. It's probably less by now. Things we need to know. They had the playbook. They hit it. Now they're running it. Australian government wrote an 82-page plan for the exact scenario. Middle East conflict, Strait of Hormuz disrupted, fuel supplies cut. They called it the National Liquid Fuel Emergency Response Plan. It was written in 2019. They never told you. 150,000 spent hiding it, not building reserves, not securing fuel, just making sure you never read it. So they knew all about that this could happen. It was reported. And that recommendation to build Australia's fuel reserves up and boost refineries, but it was ignored. And now, latest news coming out, breaking news, is the Geelong, Geelong is one of the only two fuel refineries left in the nation of Australia, and a massive fire and explosion has been reported there last night. Is this coincidental? The largest fertilizer production facility in South Australia, also in recent months, has broken down. Sabotage, it appears. Is this being engineered? The evidence is certainly suggesting it is. I mean, it's not like it's an isolated oil refinery or fuel refinery. We're down from 9 to 2, but around the world, they're bombing Russia's oil refineries. They're bombing the Middle East ones to try and create this fuel shortage. Why do they want a fuel shortage? Well, if you can't get fuel, they can lock you down, COVID-style lockdowns, send the price, everything up, that you will need to become dependent on the government to survive, and you'll become a slave in your own country. Western banks, Western economies will collapse, banks will collapse, take your money, and you'll be replaced with central bank digital currency, which the Australian Reserve Bank is happening to be leading the way. The writing's on the wall, folks. Limited time to get your capital, relocate yourself, all your capital, at least some of it, out of Australia or out of the West. We've warned for this for many years. I've done it. I got out. I saw the writing on the wall 3 years ago. Many of my smartest friends are out, but I got a lot of, I must see a lot of, I thought were smart friends in Australia, sleepwalking into financial suicide. All their assets, all their money is tied up in Australian banks or Australian assets. They are sitting ducks. They have no idea what's coming. Unfortunately, most people don't. WAs are wanting to break away. Well, secession plans has always been talking about it, but now they're talking about creating their own fuel reserves, considering they are the economic powerhouse. 35% of the GDP comes out of the Pilbara region in Western Australia alone. They could probably do quite well. Western Australia is a separate country, perhaps. Maybe Bali might want to join. Tucker Carlson responds to Trump. Trump's attacking everyone now. Candace Owens, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson. Maybe that's because Israel's telling him to. The MAGA supporters are dumping Trump. We warned over a year ago when we were reporting live at CPAC in Washington. Trump was there, Musk, Millet, all of the Zionists. That Trump is a Zionist, his party's controlled, and you're not going to like what's going to happen. It'll come out that he's a Zionist, and it's the bad news. We supported Trump initially, but it was always, MAGA was always played by the handlers, and they were there pushing America first, say America first, which is a disguise and trick. It's Israel first, folks. Trump's not going to save Israel to last. Why does this matter for the Middle East? Well, what they're after here, let me go back here. The Greater Israel Project, chaos in the Middle East mirrors a colonial Israeli map. Palestine, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Turkey, southeast of it, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, they all want to become part of the Greater Israel Project. This is fact, not fiction, not a conspiracy. Most people see separate conflicts. They're not. It's the same system. NATO membership currently shields Turkey from direct Israeli military moves. Is this why Trump wants to dump NATO? So then Israel can attack Turkey and it doesn't trigger Article 5. Greater Israel is just one part. Ultimately, they want a one world government with AI surveillance, think Palantir, enslaving the world because they see themselves as God's chosen people, meaning nobody's in free until everyone is free. You have to understand that Israel's goal is not just they already control the West, including Australia and America, England, etc. They wish to create a one world government run out of Jerusalem using a track and trace surveillance state, using central bank digital currency, using forced vaccinations to control the world's population, using lockdown style, COVID style lockdowns, using control of food supplies. You basically become a slave because you're a goyim. If you don't think that's happening, there's not a plan for that called the clergy plan. You have Australians that are so confused right now supporting Pauline Hanson anti-immigration. Great, support anti-mass immigration. But Pauline Hanson is funded by Israel. Who was behind mass immigration into Australia and into the West? If it's not Israel, the clergy plan. So people are like bamboozled. They're like, oh, we're going to go and support. Whatever you're supporting, left or right, and Pauline Hanson did a great job years ago, but she drapes herself in an Israeli flag in Canberra Parliament, not an Australian flag. It should be a clear sign. So why have you caught up in the left and right? Left party, Labour, is left-wing nutters, left faction Zionism. The right side of politics is right faction Zionism. They both want a one world government. Dump them both. What we're suggesting for Australia is a nationalist leader, not a globalist puppet. A nationalist leader. Think Russia. Does Russia have a nationalist leader? Yes. And what does the Western propaganda tell us? He's evil, right? No, because he's not a globalist puppet and he represents Russian people. He booted out the oligarchs, booted out the Rothschilds. China's president, whether you like him or not, we're told to hate on communism, even though it's massive private ownership, and they've created miracles, lifting so many people out of poverty, and their streets are quite clean, and they build bridges and infrastructure, not just across China, but around the world. They build bridges, not drop bombs. They've been a great example for the world. They want trade, not war. So we can be critical of China all we want, but their political system is far superior to ours. Certainly not endorsing communism, but it's not really communistic. What they have is 5, 10, 25-year plans and a nationalist leader. The Chinese president has to be a nationalist, has to care for the greater good of China, otherwise they'll be run out of office. Iran, whether we like them or not, we have no reason to hate them, only Western propaganda, claiming they killed 40,000 protesters, despite the fact that that was the West, that was Israel, that was America, sent the weapons in to cause the mass killings and then deframe the Iranian government. That's how they typically do coups. That's how they did the illegal coup in 2014 to get rid of Yankovic, a democratically elected Ukrainian president, to put in a pro-puppet for the Jewish Israeli state, which now you've got Zelensky, Jewish, to make that Israel 2, because the left faction Zionists know Israel 1 is probably going to fall. They want to run the world out of Ukraine, but Russia's not having a bar of that. The Rothschilds, Khazarian mafia were rooted out of there hundreds of centuries ago for valid reasons, such as child sacrificing and satanic worship, pedophilia amongst it. And Russia's not going to have them back. Russia's a Christian nation with traditional values that Australia should be closely aligned with, and getting cheap oil if we were. But we're too stupid. We're sending weapons to the left faction, globalist puppets that control Ukraine to kill Russians. Why are we doing that? Great Ismail project, as we talked about. Why does this matter for the Middle East? Because Turkey is a full NATO member and Israel is not. As long as America is in NATO, any Israeli strike on Turkish soil triggers Article 5. The US would face massive political and alliance pressure to respond in the same way. For example, military support, weapons, sanctions, or even direct involvement. So that's why Trump wants to get out of NATO, because Israel's telling him to, so they can then launch their war against Turkey, because bombing Gaza, bombing Lebanon, destroying Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, and now attacking Iran and Yemen is not enough for Israel, unless there's more dead children piling up every day and not hitting their KPIs and saying, thanks to the USA, drop the bombs, hooray, hooray. Then, of course, this bloodthirsty satanic nation claiming to be biblical will not be happy. Let's go to a quick ad break. We'll be back with some more just after this break.
The McIntyre Report.
And welcome back to McIntyre Report. You follow our 24-hour news headlines, ANR.news. We'll follow myself, Jamie McIntyre21 on X. Let's check this out.
Those flames would be meters in the air.
Well, they're as tall as the tower now.
It literally sounds like a plane. Well, that is a plane. Media.
That's footage purporting of a oil refinery, one in Geelong, near Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Very concerning. We had 9 oil refineries, little as 7, 8 years ago, down to 2 now. This is one of the only 2 remaining. And coincidentally, there's been a massive fire there. Some people claim it's engineered, this oil crisis. It's starting to certainly look that way. Let's take a look at the Iranians' perspective, though. They're certainly doing very well in the propaganda wars.
No. He's buying an island of ice while the world is on fire. A billionaire liar, a professional prior. He tweets in the morning, NATO is useless, while leaving the youth in the street feeling rootless. Automatic draft, yeah, the art of the steal. Trading your life for a classified deal. Vietnam vibes, but the reason is trash. Protecting the files while he's burning the cash. Facts. The jungle's dead. Blood on the floor. The jungle's dead. Why are we going to war? The jungle's dead. Secrets in the file. The jungle's dead. Killing with a smile. The jungle's dead. The jungle's dead. The jungle's dead. The jungle's dead. 100 strikes, 10 minutes, it's insane. 50 buildings down, washing blood in the rain. They call it strategy, I call it a joke. 100 families vanishing in smoke. You call it the law, no, it's jungle survival. Killing the innocent for a political rival. Sky News is laughing, your own people hate you. And even the news starts to underestimate you. Killer. The straight is a chokehold, the vows are rule closed. The weakness of Washington is finally exposed. $98 and the price keeps on creeping, while the mothers of the drafted are bitterly weeping. You're thirsty for helium, you're thirsty for gas, but you're stuck in a war that is kicking your ass. It's the law of the jungle where the strong eat the small, but even the giant is bound to fall. Crash! Crash. Mess, I'ma warn you, the exit is gone. You're trapped in the darkness before the dawn. 1 out of 7, your own party is turning, while the bridges to Tehran are steadily burning. You're buying that ice to cool down the shame, but the Epstein files have your middle name. Automatic enrollment, automatic grave. Is this the freedom that you promised the brave? Fuckery shouting, got the weed from the Zion, but you're tied to the beast and you're feeding the lion. 50 towers, 100 explosions, building an empire on bloody erosions. You're the king of the jungle, but the trees are all bare. There's no loyalty left, and there's no one to care. The jungle's death is a heavy amount, and the blood of the children is the only count. The jungle's dead, blood on the floor. The jungle's dead. Why are we going to war? The jungle's dead. Secrets in the file. The jungle's dead. Killing with a smile. The jungle's dead. Blood on the floor. The jungle's dead. Why are we going to war? The jungle's dead. Secrets in the file. The jungle's dead. Killing with a smile. $98, 50 buildings, 100 strikes, and 0 ways out. But sir, what about Greenland? Forget it. The ice is melting anyway. The jungle's dead. Pay it in full. Impeach. Impeach.
You got to give those who are creating those videos a lot of credit. The Great Awakening is happening. More and more people are realizing now. You can go, well, that's Iranian propaganda. Well, it's highlighting a perspective I think people need to see. We're fed in the West so much propaganda that lies that we think news is news. There's never been news. Our left and right faction news in Australia or England or America has always been absolute propaganda. People go, oh, no, but that's not true because it's on the news. They fact check back to what the news says. The news is Western propaganda. Why do we hear Australian National Review being able to accurately predict ahead of time who will win wars, accurately predict financial predictions with such accuracy? It's simply because we know Western news is not news, it's propaganda. So whatever they're saying is a complete and utter lie. The only difference you might get sometimes is the left faction Zionists, left-wing globalist puppet media versus Murdoch right faction Zionists, Netanyahu crowd fighting for each other. Trump is right faction, Netanyahu crowd, Epstein class as well. Then you got the left-wing woke nutters, the Soros, George Soros of the world. The Hillary Clintons, the Bidens, they both are imbeciles. Stop supporting them. Oh, my blue team wins. The red team wins. Oh, I win it. No, you're losers. The winner will be the nations that choose a nationalist leader, that join the BRICS alliance, that want a multipolar world, not a one world government, that respect national sovereignty, want trade, not war. That's the winners. And Australia, if I was running Australia, very simply, there'd be no income tax. The Rothschilds banker wanker state tax would be gone. Rothschilds invented income tax, but not to fund your roads and everything else as you've been told to. It's to fund the debt by printing fake money via the control of the Federal Reserve they took over in 1913, which is not federal, has no reserves. But no income tax. The taxes should be on the nation's wealth, the resources going out of Australia. Tax that, but no, the globalists don't want that because they would be taxed. People should not be taxed to work, disincentive. You could run the country on a fraction of the tax revenue was made efficient. You have massive sovereign funds reinvesting the capital, not bleeding and in debt. Why do they want nations in debt? So they can keep you enslaved. Why do they want record high property prices? You have to pay off a mortgage for the entire your life so they own you. So they launch a fake pandemic. You'll take a fake vaccine to impress your fake friends on Facebook. You should be ashamed. You'll be harassed and coerced and influenced by fake news media and fake politicians because you got a mortgage that was funded by fake Jews printing fake money. But you have to go and work to pay real money and real taxes to fund this scam system created by the founders of Israel. And then you'll go and stand, and I stand with Israel. Well, whatever people stand with Israel, they're going to be bent over. And you know what? It's not that complex. Fake people believe in fake news. Real people seek the truth and figure it out. If you're not really sure, whatever they're telling you in the media, it's the exact opposite as the truth. That will help most people. How do we know Ukraine was going to lose the war? Because Western propaganda, which you think is news, not you guys, but your family, some of your family and friends, were telling you, no, Ukraine's going to win. Put on your social media, stand with Ukraine. Of course we know Russia's going to win. Plus, we obviously do research, geopolitical analysts. It's not hard to figure it out. We told you Iran's going to win this war. And what are you now finding out? You got a lot of Western propaganda from Trump and co saying they're winning. No, they're not. The Strait of Hormuz is closed. It was open before the war. Iran controls it, and Iran can charge for it. Good on them. So they should. Do you think the Panama Canal is free? You think the Suez Canal is free? Iran will win the war. Israel wants war with everyone. Israel's a terrorist state. But no, we must stand with them. Now in Australia and around the world, in many countries, if you criticize Israel, you can face jail. What happened to free speech? What happened to who controls you? Who you can't criticize? Have you not figured this out yet? Oh, no, Israel doesn't control Australia. Really? Okay, is there any other laws put in by any other nation dictating to our politicians that if you criticize Scotland, you're going to be jailed? Is Scottish government have control of the Australian politician and political system to say you're not allowed to criticize Scotland? Otherwise, it's hate speech, it's anti-Scottish, and you will go to jail. Is that happening? Is there anti-Canadian laws like we're not allowed to criticize Canada? You're anti-Canadian, you will go to jail. That is clearly hate speech. Of course not. It's absolute nonsense. Israel controls your puppet government with fake money and fake news media. Until you realize that and start standing against and go, I want a nationalist leader. I want to elect a leader. I want a political system where the leader represents Australians or represents the English or the Americans and tells this fake state that brings fake money to buy up our fake governments and our fake media to FO. Then you will see change.
The news cycle doing your head in? Yes, I'm talking to you, and definitely you. Well, don't worry, Bunnings have launched the Fuck It Bucket, a high-tech orange bucket designed to block out noise, bad news, and anything you simply don't want to hear. Fitted with patented Trump-proof news-cancelling technology, just pop it on and the world disappears. And global demand has even hit the White House.
You know who else didn't help us? Australia didn't help us. You know who else didn't help us?
Think they're going to need more
Japan.
buckets. A Bunnings spokesman has advised that the Fuck It Bucket is more than just a really cool-looking orange face bucket thingo. It's a multi-purpose mental health fortress. It can fix any arguments.
What are you doing? Are you even listening?
And protect you from emotional football damage. But Bunnings have also advised to be careful and take the bucket off before entering a bank, with reports there has been numerous people accidentally shot down in recent weeks.
Isn't that Nate Kelly? He's back! That's Reagan Kelly!
Well, there's some Aussie humour for you. The Fuck It Bucket. Get it Bunnings right now.
Drones in the air all day. You know, there's that Palantir company just keeping tabs on everything that was happening. And
Palantir's involved in Gaza?
Palantir was involved in Gaza, yeah.
For sure?
Mm-hmm.
Put that into perplexity.
Like when Jamie brings up an article talking about it, Joe just instantly says it looks like a very biased article and that no one should trust it, which is so insane because it's a well-known fact that Palantir's technology is being utilized in Israel. It's even on Palantir.com. But Joe Rogan is so deeply afraid of Peter Thiel that he just plays super dumb to it all.
He looks like he was, breastfed by a
Israeli
drone.
government began using Palantir software in 2014. It significantly scaled up its partnership during the genocide in Gaza, which began in this is for sure a biased source just by the way they phrase that. So maybe that's not the best source.
I mean, it sounds like they have a good idea. It also sounds like they just put 4 words together that sounded great. Americans, Friends, Service Company.
I read stuff like that and I go, what is that, a CIA-run company?
I agree.
Like,
you have no idea.
Is that the Patriot Act? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just so suspicious how Joe's acting to this information. Like, it honestly seems like he's doing everything he possibly can to make his handlers happy. Which is pretty funny because I actually think Joe's handlers have been upset with him lately. I mean, ever since that Dave Smith podcast Joe did around a week ago, where he was very anti-MAGA and whatnot, calling them a bunch of dorks and that he's embarrassed of associating himself with them, while also criticizing the Trump administration for their immigration policy, stating that the Obama administration was actually better and deportations. All of that must have pissed off his handlers so much that JD Vance literally said he was going to text Joe Rogan to tell him that he was wrong with a bunch of stuff that he said.
Here's the thing. Like, first of all, America is great. Make America greater, I'm down. But make America great again and then it becomes a movement of a bunch of fucking dorks? Because a lot of them are dorks. A lot of them these really weird fucking uninteresting, unintelligent people that have got something they cling to. And there's a lot of people that are just real, genuine patriots. And they're all lumped into this one group, and you got to accept the dorks, too. Fuck that. Yeah. Like, the concept of making America great is a great idea. But as soon as you have a fucking team and you allow anybody to join up, you don't even have tryouts.
You're saying that Joe Rogan is wrong. because Joe Rogan yesterday was roasting the Trump administration, saying probably the most offensive thing you could say, which is that Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are better at deporting people than you.
I did not see Joe say this. I'm going to text Joe because that is definitely wrong. So
that's almost an exact quote. So
really,
yep.
Okay. So
Joe says MAGA's full of dorks. What do you think? You consider yourself a dork? He says MAGA's dorks.
I think we have many fewer dorks than the far left, but everybody's got some dorks. We love our dorks. We love our cool kids. We love anybody who wants to save the country.
So that basically confirms that there are people in the government with direct contact to Joe Rogan, who will indeed push their agenda onto Joe in order to have the upper hand in the media. So I think right now, more than ever, Joe is skating on extremely thin ice with these guys, and in turn was probably super annoyed that Theo dared to criticize his beloved administration. Like at one point in the podcast, he even said something along the lines of how he thinks Theo sounds like a doomsday freak and a really sad man, which could be seen as him subtly hinting to Theo that he should just chill out and stop talking.
Well, that's interesting. Whether you agree with that or not, but Palantir is a problem. Well, look what's happening in Western Sydney. We predicted this as well. Excess wrong immigration. I saw a quote, we're waiting to verify, 85% of new immigrants in the last few years have been unskilled immigrants. If that's true, that's a disaster. It's gangs in Western Sydney terrorizing people. That used to never happen when I was living in Sydney years ago. It's got nothing to do with... Who's running America?
Salem Media is an Israeli foreign agent. It is listed in a Foreign Agent Registration Act form with the Department of Justice as the delivery mechanism for a major contract between Israel's foreign ministry and Clock Tower Strategies through a German firm called Havas to propagandize the American public. We're talking about $10 million of direct payments to podcasters and influencers, as well as hundreds of millions of dollars to cover the deliverables. And the Salem Media Group chief strategy officer is a federally registered Israeli foreign agent named Brad Parscale, who heads Clock Tower Strategies. Laura Trump, who is Trump's daughter-in-law, and Donald Trump Jr., who is Donald Trump's daughter, now own a 30% stake in Salem Media. So they have effectively merged through this foreign agent business deal with the Israeli foreign ministry. The Trump family has merged with the Israeli foreign ministry. You have an Israeli foreign ministry.
Yeah, Israel propaganda paying so-called independent journalists, which aren't. Of course, we know Ben Shapiro was always taking the shekels for Israel, propagandist, Laura Loomer. I mean, it's getting pretty desperate right now. As they're desperately trying to keep support that's plummeting, that's why they're fast-tracking Palantir, track and trace, the lockers all down to control us and slave us before their last chance, harassed to be able to get a one-world government. Such a shame Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, and other emerging and growing BRIC nations. Indonesia, President Prabowo was just this week in Russia, meeting with the Russian president, no doubt securing plenty of oil and energy, something Australia could have done if it had better relations with the largest Christian nation on the planet. But instead, it prefers to send weapons to Ukraine to kill Russians. The BRIC nations, these nations are saying no to the Western world. We're saying no to Israel, saying no to the Rothschilds, saying no to your fuckery, saying no to pedophilia, saying no to your criminal elites. We're saying no. We want to trade, not war. We want national sovereignty. We want nationalist leaders. We don't want your woke, nutter, left crap nonsense. And we don't want right faction Netanyahu nonsense either. Flooding the West with mass immigration to eradicate white people because white people built predominantly Western civilization. And as a result of that, we have to eradicate them if you want to take over the world because they're our threat. There's our competition. That's why if you're a white person, and you dare question how come my country is no longer white, it's been flooded by every other color, and I'm not against immigration, I'm against that. Why are people who are predominant in that nation being now the minorities? You've been made the minority because if you dare question it, you're racist. Yeah, that's crazy. If we wanted to flood Indonesia or India and take it over with white people and make the majority white people, I'm sure the local population could raise a question, go, how come we're being overtaken in our own country? That doesn't make them racist, as if they would ever allow, as if China would allow that someone to come along and flood their country with non-Chinese. They'd have every right to object and go, we will allow immigrants, but in a controlled amount of them. But in white countries, predominantly like England and Australia and Canada, etc., if you dare question why your country's being flooded, you're racist. You're the problem, not the globalist agenda to flood your country with unsuitable immigrants. It's not a question about immigration. Immigration is good for a country. The right quality of immigration and the right mix of immigrants. Poor quality immigration, mass immigration, excess immigration, immigration done for nefarious reasons, such as the globalist puppets on the left to win votes, unskilled immigration, violent immigrants. I can't see how that benefits the country. Can you?
Woo! Boom! Boom! Boom!
Boom. Mr. President, it's time.
Okay. Iran lost their Navy. They've lost their Air Force. They have no radar. We won.
Well, sad but true Western propaganda. People believing in dumbed down Westerners think America's winning or Israel's winning. They have no idea what's going on in the world. They think Ukraine's winning. Sad reality.
Yeah. Let's say Iran killed 40,000 protesters. But who really pulled the strings? Puppet strings! Puppet strings! Trump admitted he armed the rioters. Mossad on the ground. Netanyahu confirmed that you pulled the strings, then blamed Iran for it. Trump went on live TV, said he gave them the guns, let them burn the streets while the chaos was spun. Police killed, buildings torched, blood on the ground and pointed at Iran. That's the lie they write down. Netanyahu bragged, Mossad had agents inside, running the whole show while the country fried. Same dirty game from 1953, overthrew Mossadegh, now they're trying it on me. Puppet strings, puppet strings. Trump admitted he armed the rioters. Mossad on the ground, Netanyahu confirmed that you pulled the strings, then blamed Iran. These were foreign hands playing a deadly game. We can Iran first, then bomb us just the same. Call it save Iran while you plot our demise. But the plan backfired right before your eyes. 90 million strong, united as one flame. You tried to break us, we only grew in strength. Every riot you funded, every bullet you sent just made Iran rise. That's the message we sent. Sacred defense. We see the puppet strings. We remember everything. Yeah!
Well, how else? So powerful to be able to educate a global audience. These videos, Lego and now Toy Story going viral around the world. And because they have such a large message of truth in it, people are waking up and realizing what's going on. They tried a regime change that's hardly disputed. They armed, as they always do, Mossad agents and others they can recruit to kill their own people or kill Iranians. And then frame it on the government to say the government's evil, kills their own people. Therefore, we need an urgent regime change. Do you think the Iranian people would be better off with Israel running it? The West? Clearly not. Doesn't mean the Iranian government's perfect. No, it certainly isn't. But they have every right to defend themselves, don't they? And they will. If Iran was to fall, that would be probably one of the worst things that can happen for you in the West, because who's going to stop Israel taking over the entire world and enslaving you, even in Australia? if Iran falls. That's why Russia and China is not allowing it to happen. Israel wants to pick off one at a time. That's why they picked off Iraq. That's why they did September 11th and said to the Pentagon, you don't have to ask me, it was said to General Wesley Clark in weeks of September 11th. It's called the Pentagon. 7 wars in 5 years we're going to have. General Wesley Clark said, what do you mean 7 wars in 5 years? That's the plan. That's what we've been told after September 11th. Wasn't that convenient? Another Pearl Harbor is what America needs, said the neocon administration run by Israel months before September 11th. Did you realize they were already planning to invade Iraq 3 months before September 11th happened? September 11th was designed as the catalyst to get these 7 wars and pick off these nations. And one of those 7 countries was Iran. Took them a little bit longer. The other was Syria. Took them a little bit longer. They wanted Syria to be ages ago. Who told us weapons of mass destruction in Iraq to go to war? Lied Prime Minister John Howard. He even believed it at the time. He doesn't anymore. Intelligence agencies aren't very intelligent. They don't share intelligence. They share deceptive propaganda. War by deception is Israel. It's Mossad. If you haven't figured out the enemy of humanity yet, it's still caught up in the left and right politics, then you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. The solution is, folks, BRICS. The solution is nationalist leaders. The solution is booting out left faction globalist woke nutters and booting out right faction Netanyahu nutters as well. And how installing nationalist leaders with nationalist policies, banning income tax, banning government wastage, creating productivity and efficiency, having some industries that nationalize, having private ownership, free speech, but don't privatize everything. Keep some industries, bring some industries back for the benefit of the people. The people should earn royalties. They should have free education in most cases. They should have the basics covered from the wealth of a nation. But we don't, because it's been bled off by globalists. That's all we have time for, folks, in this episode. We'll be back next week, more in the McIntyre Report. Independent news, support it. Australian National Review, ANR.newsfile, 24-hour news headlines, or you can catch me on Twitter, Jamie McIntyre 21. No longer on Facebook, because Facebook decided to ban me, but you can also find us on truthbook.social, our independent social media platform with over 100,000 people on it already and still growing. We'll be back next week with some more.